All right, what's going on, peoples? What it do, what it is, what's happening with the business be? What up, though? It's your guy, Nate Bennett, with another extraordinary episode of the Extraordinary Exchange Podcast, brought to you by the good men of the Extraordinary Investment Group. Y'all know the vibes. We 12 black men in the community doing what we can to positively impact the culture and our people through financial literacy, education, and smart financial strategy. So, got my coworker Benz in the building, repping them Ravens. What's good, Benz? You know?
Full season job, man. Off season, Braves draft coming up. I'm in there. I'm getting ready.
It's that time of year, baby. It's that time of year. Collin, who's your team, right quick, before I introduce you?
Look, we ain't gonna talk about that right now. We're going through some.
Yeah, absolutely right. We're not going to talk about that.
But it's Miami. It's Miami, man. I knew you was right trying to throw shade, but it's all good. It's them Fins, man. Since I was a kid, so I'm not like a bandwagoner when Tua and Cheetah all came on. You know, I've been fanning out with Miami since Marino days. So.
Gotcha. I can't talk. My Cowboys gonna be surprised.
I'm about to say Bennett throwing shade. His Cowboys ain't good, and the Bulls he got on right now. They ain't too good neither at this current time.
Yeah, I'm saying the Bulls. I ain't gonna hate. I'm always gonna be a fan of Chicago from the Jordan era, old school basketball, the Pippins, the Robins, etc. But yeah, them Cowboys. Nah, you are a delusional human being. If I ever see you post anything about them, I'll be like, bro, stop. Y'all probably got the most salary cap money to play with, and just
yeah. But we got an amazing guest on the pod tonight. Y'all gonna get a bunch of value from this man. Wears many hats. Decorated and dedicated Army officer, personal trainer, bodybuilder. It's got a proven habits-based system that you use to help busy men and women lose 10 pounds of body fat within 90 days. Impressive. You can check out his social media. He's got tons of success stories. We know a bunch of the same mutual people. You don't even know that I know follow you and follow some of your fitness stuff. Since we served in the Army. But devoted father, exemplary husband. My man's built like Captain America. So it was only right he had his social media handle is Captain America with a K. But just dope black man. Honored to have him on the podcast tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, CEO and owner of Rich Results Coaching, the homie Collin Richards is on the podcast. What's good, Collin?
What's up, man? What's up, Nate? How you doing, Benz? I appreciate y'all having me on tonight, man. It's an honor. I've seen nothing but great things out of Extraordinary Investment Group, Nate. You've kept me in the loop on things y'all do all the time, and obviously I pay attention to your social media pages, and hopefully I'll be able to make it to an event soon. I know y'all gonna do y'all Juneteenth thing. I think y'all do that annually, so I'm actually gonna probably be requesting to do a pop-up shop over there because I have something else I want to get out there. It's Black-owned, veteran-owned business that I want to put on the scene out there and just get some more eyes on it. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk business offline. But
it's done. It's done right now.
Yeah. So, but in the interim, man, I'm like I said, I'm honored and privileged that y'all would even consider me for tonight's discussion, and looking forward to just chopping it up with y'all brothers, man, and just getting some fruitful discussion, and hopefully we can get somebody to hear something that they need to hear, or a reminder of something that they didn't realize they need to hear at this point in time.
For sure. Well, first off, let me start off by saying, as the son of a fully disabled PTSD Vietnam veteran, I want to say thank you guys for your service. That's very important. I know the stress that puts on you and your family and everybody around you. So shout out to you guys for doing that service for your country.
Absolutely. Thank y'all, man. Thank y'all for allowing us to serve. And we do it for y'all, man. We do it for y'all. Even you, Nate, even though you out the game, man, we do it for you now too. So
100%. I recognize.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
So as Nate brought up, you kind of big in the fitness world. Kind of give us we talked about sports earlier off camera. Give us your journey into fitness and how that became your passion.
Man, fitness is always I've always been an active kid. My mom has always had me in activities, primarily sports. She realized I probably should have been diagnosed with like ADD, ADHD as a kid because I was super active, always moving. couldn't sit still no matter what. Even tonight, I struggle to sit still. You'll see me doing little things like this, move my arms and stuff like that. But I couldn't sit still. So my mom always had me in activities. Uh, Growing up in the burbs in Long Island. We started off in New York. I was born in Queens. We lived out there for a few years, and then we moved out to Long Island. So obviously, Long Island was like moving on up from moving out the city, suburbia. And so with that came a lot of access to be able to do a lot of different activities. So I always play sports, whether it was football. Played a lot of baseball as a kid. Thanks to my stepdad, put me on a diamond early. I swam competitively from the time I was like 6 years old. My mom put me in swimming. She just believed like black boys needed to learn how to swim early, and then she knew I love being competitive. I don't even think she realized indirectly she put that competitive spirit early in me. And then I think just naturally as a little boy, you want to win. And so uh, that just carried with me through life, all the way through high school, play football through high school, walked on in college 1 year, made it to the spring team. Nothing really ever came of that after that point. So I was kind of done with football at that point. I think probably back then I probably could have did more with it if I had like the right mentorship and just understanding like what it took to be a collegiate athlete in terms of like dedication. I knew nothing about 6 a.m. workouts, 6 a.m. practices, then going to class and then going to study hall. So that was just something I was unprepared for. So that's probably why I couldn't put in the work that I needed to. Plus I had my son, my oldest son at the time. So like it was like pursue this football thing 100% with the hope that maybe you get to go walk to the combine, smell the combine. And I was just like, I don't even think I'm good enough for that. So, I let those go, but I still like, I played intramural sports. I still worked out. And then I kind of hit this weird spot in school where I ended up dropping out for a while because I had to work to take care of my son. And so my fitness actually fell all the way off. I would randomly go on like runs and stuff like that and feel like my body was aching for 3 days after, go run 4, 5, 6 miles. And I was always athletic. Like I could turn it back on like it was nobody's business, like any given time. So I was like, cool. And then I joined the army and that flipped the script back on. The competitive spirit came back. Everybody wants the high PT score. I wanted to be the best. And it kind of gave me a sense of purpose again with working out because I was just like, okay, I got to be able to crank out. My boy did 90 push-ups in 2 minutes. I'm going to do 110 in 2 minutes. I'm going to smoke him. Okay, he did, 50, 60, 70 sit-ups in 2 minutes. I'm going to do 90 to 100. Like, I'm going to beat him. He ran a 13-minute 2 mile. I'm going to run an 11. Like, it was just always like, so I was always pushing myself. And this was back in like 09 or 2010. So it just translated. And then I ended up going back to school. And I got into CrossFit because I was doing ROTC. And I just started really working on my fitness again, like working out. Didn't have the eating down pat. I was still in school, still a young guy. So, still drinking, still hanging out, partying and such, but definitely a renewed mindset in terms of like how my output, at least, wasn't good with the input yet. And then finally, when I started preparing for Ranger School back in 2012, I shifted a little bit, tried to eat a little bit better. I got into like a little bit of that meal prepping thing. And, I was just like, okay, I'm doing this. All right. I got a little 6-pack coming in. I was like, oh, okay, I got a little fluffy 6-pack. I'm cool. Like I'm in shape. And then like got done with Ranger School and inadvertently got shredded out of my mind because you lose like 35, 40 pounds. And so you have nothing left but like your body and that's it. So I was like, all right, cool. And then the bug like really turned up when I got to Fort Bragg. I'm saying obviously that is like the home of the airborne. You running, you gotta be the fittest person on. This is when like not only CrossFit started blowing up, like CrossFit Games, all that stuff, but like functional fitness really started taking a hold, especially in the military. But like everybody wasn't doing it. You only saw it in like the special operations community. And so, I just like started following the stuff that I saw those dudes doing. I was like, okay, they're doing tactical fitness. So whether it's like go run 5 miles in your kit and do these type of push-ups, pull-ups, sled pulls, everything, I was just like, I just want to be a beast and a monster at all times and be able to do all these things. Well, then I quickly realized I was like, I can't fuel my body like this. Like I can't go drinking all night and then go show up for PT the next morning and run. Like I could, I was fine. But I was like, I'm not gonna be able to do this forever. And then the bodybuilding bug bit me where it's like, let's put the fitness and the nutrition together and see what happens. And that was it. It just took off from there. And I loved every bit of it. That's how I got into the whole bodybuilding thing. One of my homegirls just like kind of bet me. She's like, I bet you won't compete in the show. And I used to think like, oh no, that's whack. I love looking at Ronnie Coleman and all them cats in the magazines, Jay Cutler, Phil Heath. Like I used to watch that stuff. I was like, because I thought it was the coolest thing on earth. And you remember as a kid, you go in a grocery store, flip open the magazines, you see the flex magazines, Muscle and Fitness. You're like, man, that's crazy. These dudes look like that. And I finally learned what the dedication took. So I was able to put it all together. Fast forward, what was it? It's been like 9-10 years since I kind of got into it like that. And here I am. Like, I was just like, wow. The coaching stuff just came with educating myself, learning, using my body as experience, learning stuff from my coaches and things that taught me through bodybuilding about nutrition and getting a little certifications here and there. And then before I knew it, I was like, oh, I got my little coaching business. And then stopped being a little coaching business. It was like, no, you have a coaching business. Like, you're legit bringing in revenue. You might need to file some taxes and stuff too. Like, and so yeah, it just took off from there, man. And that's how I kind of like that's how the whole fitness thing started. So it started from like my mom in my adolescence and just that competitive spirit. And then it just was rejuvenated by the military. And then now it's just a constant competition with myself, like challenging myself, like, and I'll probably find something new to do when I'm at like 50 or 60. I might not be bodybuilding anymore. I might be like, I'm gonna be a marathoner now or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But yeah, that's kind of how the fitness journey came along. The fruitful part about it now with social media is being able to help others, give some motivation, give some inspiration. I don't want to say I'm an influencer. I don't like it per se, just because there are a lot of negative connotations that come with like influencers and creators and all that stuff like that. Sometimes, not all, just some. But to be able to have that level of influence on people and be able to help people or be some type of like motivation for folks, I think that's a good feeling too. And so that's kind of where I transitioned my hat is just like, all right, I'm gonna just keep helping folks in this manner. And now I'm just learning this whole content and YouTube stuff and everything else, like trying to like keep up with the times now because I'm like, oh, you got to do this if you want to keep revenue coming in, or you gonna get, or if you want to grow and expand and scale. And that's my next step is to scale and expand Rich Results to a much different level. I'm working on something hot right now, so
Okay.
hopefully it does what I expect it to do, which I think it will.
Well, I would urge you. You know a lot more about this lane than I do, but seeing videos of Ronnie Coleman now and see how his body's like breaking down after all those years of like doing that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully you get something by the time you 50, 60. But
Oh, dude, trust me. Like, I pay very close attention. That's probably the biggest thing I think has changed over time is people are much more aware of what's going on with their body, which I think is a great thing. Like, I'm big on like my quarterly labs. I'm big on like, oh, that shouldn't feel like that. Let me try to recover it on my own. Let's see how I feel. Okay, it's not recovering. Like, okay, now I'm gonna go to the doc and see what's up because it surpassed my knowledge base as a fitness professional. So let me switch it up because I definitely, I don't think Ronnie Coleman has any regrets about the position he's in because of what he's accomplished and what he's been able to achieve and he continues to do to this point as not only as a businessman, but an inspiration for like bodybuilding community and then probably a lot of people at large across the world, just because like that was a face of an era that you will probably never see again in bodybuilding. So like, and what he stood for, like, he was more than he was a cop, like in Dallas. Like he was a cop. He's a most people don't realize Ronnie was a college graduate. Like he wasn't no dummy. Like he was no slouch whatsoever. He's just a country boy from Mississippi that could just saw no issue with like, I'm gonna try that. That looks fun. Like, yeah, I can do it. I can do it well. I'm smart. Like, I don't think anybody realized Ronnie Coleman was an accountant. Like, I was like, that's not an easy gig. Like, you gotta be an attention to detail and a math whiz. Like, so like, shouts out to Ronnie Coleman. Man. I don't think he has any regrets. But yes, in terms of taking care of my body, yeah, I'm very keen on that stuff. Not when to push, when not to push, and then also understanding life cycles, and where my family's at, where my career is at, and knowing like, okay, this might not be a good season to compete. Let's just maintain and focus on other stuff. And so yeah, understanding that.
shout out to organized sports. It's something we talk about as fellas in investment group. Most of us played sports growing up, and the life lessons we learned from those organized
Mm-hmm.
sports, and that catapulting you to do some of the things that you've been doing. Something else I didn't mention. You got your master's in organizational leadership. So shout out to you
Yes.
for that. Maybe it's our military background. That's something I've always been fascinated with. Just learning as much as I can about leadership. And at the end of the day, leadership is influence. So you can try to shy away from the influencer tag, but you have a lot of influence, right?
Yeah.
what was the main thing that catapulted you to shift to kind of help influence other people to do that? Like, all right, cool, I've learned all these things about myself. Let me start this little fitness business and share these insights with other people.
Um, well, before the Chat GPT era, where everybody could like search for fitness help, you had to talk to people, you had to give information, and so what first turned into, you guys have probably seen it before. Yo, what's the workout plan or what you doing? People, you post that first photo and they're just like, oh my God, how'd you transform? I need to get like you. So I was just like, oh, I just did this. But really what I realized is like, it didn't matter what I told them to do if they didn't do it. And I realized I was like, there's opportunity here to teach people habits, consistency, and discipline, and to be that nurturing that some people need, because people come from so many different walks of life. And what I realized was like, it's not that people can't eat certain foods. It's not that people can't, do workouts. It's just sometimes they just need somebody there to be like, it's okay. Go ahead, jump in the water. Here, I'm gonna hold your hand. There you go. And then just walk them through the process. And then as you see them get more and more confident, oh, I lost a pound. You praise them like it's your kid's first time peeing on the toilet by themselves when they being potty trained. And once they start getting that praise, they're like, oh my God, I can do this. And then before they know it, they take off. And most people that really apply those habits end up doing well for the long term. Um, and what I realized then, I was just like, okay, I could do that. I think I'm pretty good at this. The, org- the masters in leadership, I think, for me, like leadership was always something I think that was kind of inculcated in me anyway. I didn't realize it, how to apply it. I was just like, I think I was just always the kid that wanted to be out front and be the life of the party in the show. But then I quickly realized, like, okay, if you're gonna do that, like, have some impact, have some influence, have some something of substance to offer them. And so for me, uh, when I got into the coaching thing, I was like, I think I can apply some of these leadership things I've learned in some of my own personality and apply this to the business aspect. And then after a while, get a little check here, a little cash out there. Okay, it's starting to get consistent. All right, I got a little cheese now. All right. Oh shoot, now I'm really making money. And then I was like, you know what? I need some extra bread right now. And I could use, I'm saying, I don't know. I think there's always some people, this is six years ago. I was like, why not make some money? I was like, and my coach told me at the time, he's like, you can do this. He's like, your personality is very good for it. He said, I'll teach you how to run a coaching business. So my coach actually taught me just a lot of basic things. And then, I did my own research in terms of how to set up a business, LLC, all that other stuff. And I was like, okay, that's pretty simple. Go here, file the paperwork, make sure you get your tax ID, all that stuff. And then I was like, all right, now I can really make some moves. And I just started marketing it. And before you know it, one here, word of mouth there. And then once you hit a couple transformations, it just starts going. It starts going. And then now it's just like, not to say it's on like autopilot, but it's just like now it's just like this is business as usual, and I'm doing this all by myself. So I don't have really any help. Like I do everything on my own. So I think it was just that spark back then about 2018, 2019 time frame where I was just like, you know what, I can really be of value to people. And also I realized like, I had to put some work on myself too. Like, I was giving out a lot of free chicken, a lot of free smoke for folks. And then I realized like, I can't keep doing this. And knowing that like my homeboy's over here knowing the same stuff I know, but he getting paid. I'm not, I was like, I get paid too. And I'm not greedy. I wasn't hard up for the money, but I was like, it's nice to have a little extra, that little extra flexibility. So Army pay good, but they don't pay that great. Contrary to popular belief, people in the military make now like, oh, we do all right, but we could be better.
You talked about building the business and not even necessarily the building the network to even be able to have those stories of people doing well to spread your brand, to grow your business. Do you have any tips and tricks for entrepreneurs out there, things that work good, things that didn't work good, about just how to build that business, how to build that initial network so that that word of mouth can happen?
First things first, don't be afraid to take risks on yourself. That was the first thing. Like it took me a while to be comfortable betting on myself and applying risk. Um, and then talking about like investing in things that would make me a better businessman, like taking those little courses here and there, taking those, I was like, oh, man, that's like $500. And, I made a little bit of money, but I can figure it out on my own. Sometimes it's okay to put yourself in those rooms, in those circles, and do that. So I would say, do not be afraid to take those risks to invest in yourself. You should be continuing your education, not only in the craft, but as a businessman and an entrepreneur. And then just like putting yourself in different spaces. Businessman, businesswoman. So this is not limited to men or women, either or, right? That'd be step one. I think step two is like be consistent. Even when you're not motivated, it is very hard to run a business. I think the statistic is like what most businesses fail within the first 1 to 3 years or something like that, or 1 to 5 years, something in that range, right? I've already made it past that point. So now I was like, I'm an established business, right? So you have to be consistent. I didn't think I was capable of pulling in over 6 figures doing online coaching until 3 years in. And but I invested in myself in those first couple of years, invested in my craft, invested in more certifications, more learning, sitting on YouTube for hours, like just learning, paying attention to the things that I saw my coaches doing, saw people in the community doing, putting myself in those spaces through networks. And then I was like, okay. And when I did it, I was like, oh, let's go. Once I found my tax here, I was like, oh, and I was just like, wow. I can do this. Like when you do that, but I realized I was like, you did so much work to do that. But then once you know the game, it's like now I know how to rinse it, repeat it. I can cut it. And, I know I'm kind of giving drug innuendos right there, but like it's the game. Like you
The
figured out the
game is the
game,
game.
and the game is the game, right? It's all about the hustle, right? At the end of the day, but like once you just see it, you become hungry for it. Now I'm like, I'm not even hungry for it. It's more so now it's like, okay, how can I make this better? How can I make my product more niche? How can I separate myself? And then, I started thinking, I was like, man, I don't want to do it this way for this, like this forever. I want to stop working in the business and start working on the business. And that's something I realized recently. I was like, I'm spending too much time on the things that I'm not so much passionate about in terms of fitness. Like I enjoy coaching my clients one-to-one, but I also find myself, I'm like, I'm not really branding it like the way I should. I'm not really putting the marketing out there like I should. I'm not really doing the content thing. So I was like, I got to work on this business a little bit more. I was like, I can do the coaching thing. I can almost do that myself. Like it's so easy now. Like, and I can do most of that. I don't even need to be on this laptop anymore. I can do it from my phone. I've set myself up as I'm a mobile office now. So I don't need my laptop all the time now. But nonetheless, I was like, the tip I would give to someone is like, when you get to that point of like where you have to find that separation point. Because I'm like, what's the point of being in business if you're always just going to be the person doing all the work? To me, that's not business. I don't think you're the CEO of anything. I appreciate the comment about CEO, but I was like, I don't think I'm a CEO until I employ like 15 to 20 other trainers and they're making the money and they're doing it. I'm paying somebody, and that's the point I'm working on now. Is like, I'm going to create a product and then I'm going to start employing other trainers to teach them the game, but also help them make some money. And so I think, I'm working on getting to the point of working on the business. And I think that's the thing you have to know is where's your break point going to be? And when are you going to become the high value person of the business? And like to work with me, you got to come up off some change, but you can work with my team and they can get you to where you need to be, like that's how I'm separating myself in terms of the fitness coaching and stuff like that. And it's not that I think I'm better or anything like that, but I'm just like, I see where I want to be. I want to be able to offer exclusive access, but then I also want to be able to offer access to the masses. And the reason I want to offer access to the masses is because I recently did a paper. I'm in grad school again, so working on another degree, and it was about like community health in regard to food scarcity. And I was like, man, what if I could offer like a valuable product to an underserved community on how to work out, how to eat. Here's your workouts. This is what you can do. And I can scale it so then I can reach them and I can make it affordable. I could put an app on your phone and be like, hey, do this. It's a low budget in terms of a subscription-based system. But I'm going to teach you how to eat. I'm going to teach you how to grocery shop. I'm going to teach you how to make good choices. I'm going to teach you the habits. Let's break these cycles of everybody being obese. Let's break these cycles of diabetes. Let's break these cycles of all this stuff. So I know I'm kind of going off tangent in terms of what the original question was, but like you have to find that breaking point from being in the business to working on the business. And so that's what I'm working on now is, it's a lot of different things. So those are the tips I would say if I had to summate it is, don't be scared to invest in yourself. find that break point of when you're going to stop working in the business and start working on the business. And then finally, making sure that you're putting yourself in the right spaces, in the right rooms, even rooms that maybe don't align directly with your business, because you never know who you'll meet that might want to invest in you or might want to just give you an opportunity or sees value in you and be like, let me see if I can put you in contact with XYZ, because they might be able to help you scale or do what you're trying to look for. It happens all the time now. I'm just in a space and like, oh man, I want to see what you do with XYZ. I was like, okay, cool. We talk about things. They give me some nuggets. They give me access to things. And if I choose to use it, I choose to use it. If I don't, I don't. It's fine. But at least I have that. And I'll still maintain those relationships with those people, whether it's LinkedIn, email, text, just occasionally popping up, hey man, just checking in with you. Because I don't know when I might need that, but I just might not need it right now. And so those are the things I'll tell people, like, just because you might not be in that space, 3 to 5 years from now, you might need that. And so keep that in your back pocket. So that's why that networking, like you just said, was so important. Like not being afraid to you'll see me again. Like don't worry. I might not be ready for you now, but you'll see me again. Absolutely.
We ain't even gotta say nothing else, dog. All the value you got with that response right there is crazy. Crazy.
I didn't even know I had that in me, man. But I just realized I started thinking about when he asked me the question. I was like, man, where did I start, man?
it's we started Extraordinary Business Solutions because we saw a lot of small businesses pop up during the pandemic that knew craft, they knew candle making, they knew apparel, they knew fitness, but they didn't know the business of the business. So you saying working on the business as opposed to working in the business, you being a slave to that business, to where the common misconception is, become an entrepreneur, you only got to work a little bit of time, you have the time freedom and this and that. You're really trying to ramp up and build that thing up. You're in the trenches and you're putting in a lot of sweat equity until, again, you could delegate some of those responsibilities. You can put systems in place to where you can order. Because like you said, once you hit that first 6 figures, the second is just rinse and repeat, third, fourth, and then you just keep.
I think about Jeff Bezos, man, that infamous photo of him in the office looking like 80s god awful behind that old PC. And you're just like, but now look at that dude. Like, he looked like he aged backwards just because of obviously what the money's done for him. But like, nonetheless, like, yeah, he was in the trenches for a while, shipping books on his own and everything. So like to your point, like, but he had to figure out how to break away from that, create those systems and such. And I think that's what I hate sometimes when I see a lot of small businesses. Like you said, I just hate seeing people like create your systems. It might be a rough investment. You might not make any money for a little while, and that's okay. Because if it's going back into the business, you got to be okay with that. You'll pay yourself eventually. You will pay it, and it's okay. It will come. You got a regular job and you just working and building, but trust and believe, once you put those systems in place, you got your shipping, you got your automations, you got everything, and it starts running smooth, and you just like, okay, I'm just making candles, being happy, I'm shipping things out, I'm boxing label. Yeah, it's a little hard work, it's trenches, but nonetheless, like over time, it'll start working. And then before you know it, you're like, oh my God, I just cleared 6 figures. Give me another 6 months, I'm quitting my job and I'm going all in. And then you find yourself like, well, what else can I get into? Like, what else can I do? Like, that's how I'm starting to look at it. I'm just seeing like, what else can I do? Like now I'm starting to, as soon as I break away, I'm gonna be looking like, all right, where can I put this gym? Where can I put this? Where can I build a grocery store in the hood that's gonna give people access? Where can I do this? Like, where can I do that? That's how I'm starting.
The natural maturation process, not of the business, but of the entrepreneur in that process is going to have you put that hat on and have that different perspective once you get to that plateau. What else because you're not looking at all those other things when you got your blinders on, focus. But then once you're able to come up from air and like, man, I really created this, you have that freedom in your mind that you can, and you've developed yourself over those years through the trials and errors, through the personal development. The entrepreneur, the person that you become at the end of that journey is far more valuable than all the money that you made up until that point. So that right there, and you alluded to that at the beginning, that personal development, so key.
Yeah, so key. That it is. It's super key, man. I'm glad I went through what I had to deal with, but it felt good. I think some of the best feeling times was like I could take my family on a Disney trip all off of my business and not blink twice and be like, I'm okay with that. I'm still investing in my business. I'm still investing in myself. I have not lost any traction. But those were the best feelings. Like I'm doing the right thing. I'm on the right track. Just keep going. Um, and now, as like I said, as I'm figuring out, like, okay, I'm stepping away in this sense, but like I'm gonna still make this thing work and figure out another way to make it even better. It's just, yeah, like you said, the natural maturization process of it. Like, get after it. And like I said, I tell my wife this all the time. I said, the day I hang this uniform up, I ain't working ever again for anyone else. Like, I promise I'm not. And I mean that with a passion. So I was like, I'm getting after it.
I mean, I tell people all the time, man, the military is a business. Uncle Sam gonna get everything he can out of you.
Mhm. I am
Every,
my retirement plan. People be like, what's your retirement plan? I'm like, I am the retirement plan.
for
Me.
sure, for sure.
So let me ask you
Mhm.
that though. In this meantime, between time, with being active military, um, training yourself, competing, and training others, how do you schedule, prioritize? How are you able to deal with all those different facets? And do you have any tips and people for people that in the same situation? I know like a lot of entrepreneurs are building their business and still working and still parent. And a lot of times it's overwhelming for some people to try to wear all those hats at the same time.
Harmony and systems. Nate, we had this conversation a few days ago. Um, I learned from a mentor. Shouts out to Chevy Cook. He's a colonel in the army. But he said something one time that really was kind of profound to me. Was he doesn't really believe in like work life balance. He believes in work life harmony, right? So you have to, as an entrepreneur, as a parent, as whatever hats you wear as a husband, a wife, spouse, partner, whatever you want to call yourself. You have to learn how to make those things work in harmony and understanding sometimes one thing's going to go up and something's going to come down. And you have to be okay with that. Like you have to get comfortable. So if it's something drives your anxiety through the roof, you might need to learn some coping mechanisms if that thing is going to go down, because you're going to have to be okay with that. I had to learn to be okay with missing the gym. Yeah, I know, right? Missing the gym. Like some days it just happened that way. And I was like, okay, but now I've got to the point now, I was like, I know when I'm gonna miss it. So let me shift my life schedule here. Let me do this. All right, the kids got this, wifey's got this, I got this, and this. I'm booked and busy. The calendar is always filled up. It drives my wife insane some days, and she'd be like, bruh, I missed to burn the candle at both ends. But what I've learned to do is develop a lot better harmony with things in my life and incorporating those things into what I do. So now my kids are a little older, so it's easier. If you got smaller kids, it becomes a little bit harder because they're more hands-on, they require more attention. So it may be you may have to pull back on certain things. What I don't like seeing is I see a lot of people, the first thing they will neglect is their health in those situations.
Mhm.
From the
Mhm.
eating to not moving their bodies, everything, because they're just so like into it. I have clients like that all the time. So, that's the biggest thing. I was like, don't neglect your health. Make it a priority. No matter whatever we got to figure out. If it's home workout, if it's just getting on the spin bike every day until we can find time to, move some weight, do some things like that. But nonetheless, back to what I was saying, uh, finding that harmony in plugging and playing. And then I had to learn how to be okay with that. I can't commit to everything and telling people no. It's okay. Like, hey man, I love you. I'll send a card. Hey homie, like, hey girl, I love you. Here's, congratulations. I'll tune in via the live stream link. If you got a live, because everybody got a live stream link nowadays, I'll tune in and I'll support you that way. Here's a card, here's a gift card, or we'll link up, I'll take you to lunch in a few weeks, when our schedules align. You have to be okay with that too. You have to be okay with not being able to do everything. And there are seasons where you're gonna have to get a lot done. And I know that season is approaching for me. It's like competition season is ramping up. I'm made some obligations to some very close friends that I said I was gonna see it through. Um, my son plays AAU basketball. My daughter just finished competitive cheer, but she is full blown on two different soccer teams right now. So like my oldest son, he's playing AAU plus getting ready to graduate. So my mind is in 10,000 places. Oh yeah, and I still got to invest time with my wife too. Like you got to keep the marriage like in a good space. So it's just finding harmony and taking advantage of opportunities, incorporating the whole family. So maybe if I'm shooting content that day, maybe today's content is like me and my family. Like I'm gonna just pull them in. I can't just be about me sometimes. So, hey man, we going here. We at the crib. We got this going on. Da, 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 and showing people, yo, it can be done. Like we all ate breakfast together. We all ate healthy. Like, hey, that's how I incorporate. Like, and so finding that harmony within life, there is never going to be balance. I almost hate the term work-life balance now because it's like it's not real. It's not real. There's not such thing. It's never just going to be like this. You think about like a heartbeat. You're never going to be flatline. If you flatline, you're dead. Like, so there's going to be these little ebbs and flows. You're going to have a little spike here and there, but it's going to find itself. You're going to have a little arrhythmia. So just be okay with finding that harmony and just, okay, we're going along. As long as it's being pretty good and we're not having too many of these, just many of these, we okay. And you find that harmony and just make things fit in. It's like a Tetris, just make the
Mhm.
pieces fit. They might always not look good. It may not be pretty. And once you stop obsessing with making it look pretty, people don't
Mm.
need to see people don't need to see in Coach Cap's life that like everything behind the scenes of what I present on social media looks. They don't need to know it looks like a ball of yarn going all over the place. They just need to see like, hey, you made it happen, and that's what's important, I think. But also showing them like, hey, it's a ball of yarn. Like having this discussion right now, it's a ball of yarn some days, and we just sorted through it trying to figure it out. So yeah, and to my business people, like don't and parents, anybody, just life. You have to find harmony and be okay with certain things just not being at its best. Sometimes it'll work itself out.
Super dope. Gotta have that
Mhm.
belief and know that it's gonna work itself out, like you said. And I think that transparency and authenticity in doing that as you're sharing it with your community or whoever you're sharing the stuff on social media with, that stuff resonates. If you're faking the funk, I used to hate the fake it till you make it. You fake it,
Mhm.
people can sniff that out. People know that's not authentic, and you're not going to get the conversion that you're looking for. But yeah, that's beautiful. Shout out to your mentor, Harmony and Systems. That's I've never heard it explained that way, but that's dope.
Yeah, it's just life is synergy, man. You just got to make things work synergistically, and you know sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Be okay with those failures too. That was
Mm,
another thing my mentor told me. Like he he has a list, like a book. He said he like a little pad. He writes out all his failures, and that's what he tells his mentees about. He tells his mentees about his failures. He's like, you see my wins. You like, you know what I'm winning at. Like, let me tell you about the 15 times behind the scenes that I applied for this thing and didn't get it. Like, let me tell you about that. Like, so be okay failing. Like, there's so much more testimony in your failures than your wins sometimes. You know, I
is
think
is that
that's
where you
important.
got the idea to? You were just talking about how you're going to talk with your sons and have that kind of management.
Kinda, yeah, yeah. Actually, yeah, man. I need them. I need them to see my L's, man.
Yeah, that's
I
dope.
needed I need them to see my tears. I need them to see the struggles. I need them to see like, hey man, I know I make it look easy, but it took so many failures to make this look easy, and still some days it's not easy. Um,
I think we've gotten one of the gifts that we're able to get in our generation, because we're all around the same age, is when we are able to look at our parents as human beings and realize,
mhm.
nah, they not perfect. They did the best, and it took for us to become parents to understand that. Like, oh man, you going through some of the same stuff. Like, I
Yeah,
been plenty of times I've called my mother, like, I know exactly what you was going through now because I just went through that. You know.
I give our older generations grace, even though sometimes they rub me the wrong way. They give me just, oh, I'll be like, bro, like, why are y'all hating on us so hard? But then I think about it, I was like, well, you had to struggle. You were truly in survival mode. Like you talk about like let's use an example like race relations or something. Like you had to be docile. You had to survive because back then, like you would have got beat up. You would have got like you would have went through some things. So yeah, I can understand why you get mad when you hear our generation say, "I am not my ancestors." You're right. We're not because I don't think we're not. We couldn't have done what y'all did. We are a bit too sensitive for that. But now that's why I give that generation grace. Like when they have their views, sometimes yeah, it'd be like, okay, you off your rocker, and you might not get it, but nonetheless, I'm like, I'm gonna give you grace because what you had to deal with is nothing like what I have to deal with nowadays. Is it another mentor of mine always says we come a long ways, but we have a long ways to go. And I think that's a very profound statement. He's like, so yeah, like it's not as bad as it used to be, but we still going away. Will it ever be perfect? I doubt it, but like find the beauty in that, like things are progressing in certain areas. I'm not trying to come with some toxic positivity or nothing like that, but like, yeah, there's some things to be proud of and be happy about. While other things are still working themselves out.
And you have to allow yourself to grow, allow yourself to look at that same issue from your new perspective as you grow. Um,
Hmm.
Kind of like Nate said about parenting. I had to go through my own baby mama drama to understand my
Yep.
father what he was doing back in 1980, 84.
Ooh.
You feel me? Like I had at that, but growing up, I didn't understand it. I wasn't supposed to understand it then.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
But
man.
now, from my perspective, I go through what I got to go through. Oh, okay, that's why you did this. That's why you did that. That's why. Cool. It makes more sense to you. And
I
so, but
ooh.
some people, some folks feel like I've expressed displeasure or I was angry about that situation before. I got to stay there because that's how
Hmm.
I said I was, and I don't allow that self to say, "Huh." Now that I'm in a new place in my life, maybe what I was maybe what I thought was wrong or ignorant back then, maybe I can understand it now and forgive, and like because we don't let ourselves grow into that new
Nah.
life that we see because we're sometimes get stuck in those feelings.
I
It's
had to do a
called.
lot of I had to do a lot of healing and forgiveness on that one, man. I can you just brought up that point about like understanding what my pops was doing back then. The thing I think that's been beautiful about it, my pops got five boys, four different women. Um, and I was probably the odd man out. I grew up with my mom most of the time. So at certain points in life, I grew up with a lot of resentment because my brothers had a very different bond than what I had. When we did get together at times as I got older, I had an appreciation for it, and things clicked well. But I also had some resentment with my pops, like, yo, man, like I feel a type of way. Even recently when my grandmother passed, there were so many different memories, and I remember they were pulling up all the photos, and I was in like one of them. And when you talk about a kick in the chest, and I love my grandma. She was awesome, amazing, great cook, my buddy, my joking buddy, everything like that under the sun. Um, and this is in my later years in life. I was able to build that relationship with her. But I finally understood like
Mm-hmm.
what my dad went through when I went through things with my own son's mother. Even things I go through with my wife, and sometimes, like it kind of gave me perspective in it. So it helped me grow. It also helped me cope with those things that I was resentful about. Um, 'Cause I was just like, man, okay, I get it now. And my dad's transparency helped a lot, because he would always say, like, I did what I thought I could do, what I knew how to do. But now he said, all I tried to do for, the last 20, 30 years was save y'all from yourselves. A lot of people say, like, break the generational curse. He said that a lot, but he's like, more so just like, hopefully it doesn't affect y'all as much. Cause, me and my brother, we dabbled a little too much. But nonetheless, we caught ourselves at the right time when we needed to not fall into that abyss that my dad fell into, thank God. And we were able to be excellent fathers to our children to this point now. And I had to learn, from his mistakes, but it took a while for those things to kick in. I had to grow into it, as you said. I had to recognize like he did what he knew how to do. So I can't be resentful towards him. Even though it may hurt, that's something I got to deal with and just be comfortable knowing that, like, hey, you got what you got from this, and the hand you were dealt is the hand you were dealt. Um, it's not your fault, but maybe, you know, the universe or God, however, whatever you choose to believe in, knew you needed that at these certain points in life in order to help you grow. So I just look at those as like growth experiences for me, which is, I think, just as critically important. I didn't realize I needed that period of growth and resentment, those tears that I've shed all the way up until like a couple of weeks ago about my grandmother, just because like I needed those moments because it's just been helping me in how I parent, how I move now, even how I'm a husband and stuff now, and just understanding. So it's important. Those moments are important to understand what the previous generations have gone through.
In the spirit of piggybacking on that a little bit and adding some value, I'm in a men's book club right now. We're reading Jason Wilson's newest book. I think this is his third book, The Man the Moment Demands. If y'all
Hmm.
haven't read that joint, check that joint out. It's a, I won't say a Bible for men, but it's got a lot of valuable stuff for men, and he breaks each chapter down, focusing on the different hats that we wear. So fatherhood, through business, through being a nurturer. Like typically men, we don't think of ourselves as nurturers, but there's a chapter talking about
Mm-hmm.
the nurturing side of us, the warrior side of us. So shout out to Jason Wilson. I've read his previous 2 books, but this joint is the moment the moment demands. I'll check that joint out. We're not getting for that. We don't know Mr.
The
Wilson.
man, the moment, the demands. Okay.
Yeah,
Nah, definitely.
man.
I definitely need to check that one out.
In a little caption in the notes, man. But
This has nothing to do with the conversation. But since we're giving out book recommendations, it's a great book. I just finished the Trevor Noah book, Born Illegal, and it's about growing up biracial in apartheid South Africa, where interracial sex is not supposed to happen. So if you're a biracial person, obviously somebody's doing something they're supposed to be doing. Reading that book was a good perspective on real everyday life in South Africa in apartheid, and it's a good overall understanding of what your man, your homeboy Elon Musk is doing right now, Bennett. So check that joint out.
Tom, wow, why you gotta be my man's?
You got a Tesla. You got 2 Teslas, matter of fact.
Hey man, I seen a bumper sticker like a week ago on the back of a Tesla. I got this Tesla before I knew Elon was crazy.
Yo, I saw that too. Me and my wife saw that like not this past Sunday, 2 Sundays ago. We were headed out to the farmers market in Mosaic. I see the Tesla. The only reason I saw the Tesla because she cut me off, and I was just like, I was about to get mad. Then I saw her bumper sticker, and I was like, I can't even be mad at that. That's funny. We just saw that Tesla bumper sticker. You might need a couple of those, bro. Just so people don't burn your Tesla or try to bomb it or something.
Man, this is a dope conversation, man. We appreciate you for joining us.
I'm just saying, I don't need to see Brooklyn walking to school crying, talking about my daddy's Tesla got burned.
Hey, I get you one of them Honda emblems you can put on there. You can swap it all the way out. They wouldn't even know.
People really, I was in the neighborhood shopping, and somebody was walking across. This dude and his woman looked like maybe they were working out, going on for like a leisurely stroll. And my man gave me the thumbs down. I was talking about boo.
Dog, man. People is not rocking with it.
Ooh, I'm like, yo, people really do not rock with that guy for obvious reasons, but we getting a lot of that backlash because of it as Tesla.
Yeah, he ain't gonna care about it, man. That man is so aloof. I'm saying he's so high off of ketamine right now, it don't matter. That man, that's an interesting situation.
I don't think we put enough emphasis on nature versus nurture. So as parents, we think we supposed to whatever we do is going to influence our kids to do good, do bad, do right, do wrong. And a lot of times you can have 2 kids from the same way and both end up totally different. That's just the natural nature of things. So
so that's
man. That's what I got for you. The other I got for you was this here. As little boys are, you probably know this. So, some of those little boys I'm talking about, no matter how good you parent them, they're gonna have to touch the hot stove 1 or 2 times. Hopefully don't burn it. But they're gonna have to get that touch of reality sometimes to really for them to understand what it means to be a man in this society. So
absolutely.
I saw that to say, keep having your conversations, keep doing what you're doing, and the good Lord will make things work out the way they're supposed to work out at that time frame they're supposed to. But don't get frustrated with it. That's all.
Oh, absolutely not. I think frustration is natural, but you were very right about the nature versus nurture. I think he's got a lot of nurture, sometimes too much nurturing. And I think, I have my own thoughts about that, mothering versus fathering at certain points in life. Like I think for boys, like I think the mothering is good. I think it's necessary, and not saying that men cannot provide that love, that affection, that emotional safety that young men need. I think that's important because that wasn't always a thing generationally growing up. But also, I think there is a point where you start recognizing like nature is kicking in and there's nothing that nurture is even going to do. And so that's like when they moved that summer, I was just like, oh no, because like I know the difference in my son when I'm within arm's reach of him. Like, and it's not so much like I got to put hands on him, but he knows like there was things he just would never get away with me. And like, he knows like if I turn around, if I look at him, if he hears the tone of my voice, he's just like, let me calm down. Let me get myself together. And it's been like that because I've been in my son's life since the day he came out, you know? So he's always known that with me. I think, and I have three. So when you brought up that point about each one is so different, my younger son, he's a teenager. He's 14. He's about to start high school next year. Totally different kid. Totally different. It is a very different dynamic with parenting each child. I love them all the same, but I have to parent them differently, um, just because it is just I'm dealing with three totally different humans. One thing I noticed when it comes to fathering is a lot of guys don't know how to deal in the blended family world. Like it's a hard space to navigate. And I was like, man, like what me and my son's mother have been able to accomplish, what me and my wife have been able to accomplish in managing this process, brother, like me and my son's mother were not in the space that we're in now. Like now we can laugh, we can joke, and I'm saying 20 years, you know, of friendship, having a child together, everything. It has really shown me like, man, if you just what growth and maturity and a little bit of humility and understanding your limits and where you fall in that world, it makes a huge difference. Like 10 years ago, we weren't in the space we are now. 5 years ago, we had just like started crossing into that weird threshold of being able to have those conversations without arguing as much, without debating things. And it took a lot of growth. It took a lot of healing. It took a lot of hard conversations between us. Like, yeah. So I think we become more emotionally aware. And I was watching a clip. It was just, it's a therapist. Can't remember her name, but I found her on a random, you know, Facebook pops up with little random reels and stuff like that. And it was ironic what she had said. And she was just like, we have become like so emotionally, we've swung, the pendulum's swung too far one way in terms of we are unable to cope. We are unable to deal with challenges. We are unable to like deal with the stressors that are natural. So now we think everything is an extreme, for lack of better terms. And I'm not quoting her verbatim, but this is kind of the gist of it. And we just don't really do a good job of like distinguishing between what's routine stress and what's actual like heightened stress. And so like, you know, it's become problematic because now it's like people like take psychological terms and use them out of context. What's one I hear all
Everything
the
is
time? A lot of women,
not anxiety. Everything
everything,
is
yeah,
not
you're right.
depression. You know
Yeah,
what
everything's not exhaustion, everything's not obsession, everything's not narcissism. Like sometimes like you may have those traits or those things may surface or manifest, but that don't mean you necessarily got, you know, depression. You know, that doesn't, you know, and we become so like psychoanalytical of ourselves and of others that like you want to put this label on somebody just so you can put them there so then you can create these fake boundaries. Like I'm gonna create boundaries. I'm like, you've created so many boundaries that you've isolated yourself now. Like because you don't know how to emotionally cope and also sort through problems. We don't know how to do those things. And so like me and my wife, you know, I think as millennials, we grew up in that wonderful generation where as 80, you know, as 80s babies, we had the analog to digital era. So we understand the value of like, okay, you have to go through a little something. It don't have to be maybe as traumatic as some of the things we have dealt with. Like I was like, I don't believe like I tell my kids, I was like, be glad you didn't get beat with a switch, you know, or stuff like that. And be glad I graduated from that as a father, like even wanting to deliver spankings and whoopings and stuff. Like, and I realized I could hurt you worse with other things than, you know, my hands. I was like, but I think as millennials, we just had the beauty of like seeing the transformation, but also seeing like how the transformation has just started swinging from one extreme to the next, from not only just emotions and our ability and mental health and things like that to manage our mental health, also like politics, you know, just a lot of different things in the world. And we just have not found like that comfortable speed. I think part of it is too, social media has been great, but it's also put too much hyper awareness. Like we know too much now. Like, and you remember like back in the day, you wouldn't have known if something happened around the world until either you watched the 6 o'clock news, you read the newspaper the next day. Nowadays, within seconds, ding, 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 this thing is blown off the hook. And, oh, another plane crash. I was like, nothing changed. Nothing changed. Like when they were talking about the plane crash earlier this year, it was just like, well, nothing really changed. It's just like it's just hitting your algorithm more. Because when you looked at the statistics, it was just like, oh, this is normal. It's not publicized, but that's the hotness right now with social media and then just mass media in general. Like it catches the algorithm. So now it's like everybody, oh, so we what is routine and normal, which it sounds jacked up that plane crashes are routine and normal and that they happen because it's like, why would you not have the right safety standard in place? But it's like it's not out of the the variance of it supposed to happen. So,
and the thing about it is though is that we pick and choose what information we consume.
that part.
So
That's my point.
so yeah, if we scroll through the timeline and we see violence, we see things going on, it's the easy route to assume that it's happening more prevalent, it's happening more often, it's close to you. But if you take 1 second more further of knowledge and go to the Google side of it, you'll realize that crime is down throughout the country right now. Been so for the past 4 or 5 years. Every major city country has had dramatically lower homicide rates over the past 4 or 5 years since COVID.
Yeah.
But nobody would tell you that because they think, oh, all the YNs are running around doing everything bad. Like that's the narrative. And so it's not. It's social media is a tool. And so we kind of got to use our own minds and get out of the groupthink mentality. But I don't think that's new. I think the excuses that we use are new. But the people just looking for the easy excuse to this is not things are happening bad to me for X reason. That changes over time. It was the communists. It was the devil. It was the whatever was the cool anti thing. Now it's the immigrants. Whatever is the cool anti thing right now. We're gonna blame it on that. So right now it's anxiety. Oh, it's my anxiety. Well, yeah, it's just whatever excuse you can pick. That's the coolest excuse for everybody that people accept. That's what you roll with it at that given time. That's all it is.
It started with newspapers. That's where they got their group thing. Then it came radio. Then it was the TV. But when the implementation of all those things came, it was, oh man, the world's going to hell in a handbasket. Oh, the TV, our brain cells, we're gonna do. But so we all getting this same information. Like you said, it's a tool from the same media sources, and it has us viewing the world a certain way. Same thing during the pandemic. And we kept seeing unarmed black men get killed, right? It wasn't happening more prevalently. It was in our faces, though. It
was publicized more.
We were seeing it because it was on camera. But if you look at the statistics, it was no increase in it, really. You know what I'm saying? So
we have close associates, Bennett, that'll tell you the same thing. Oh, I don't fly. I don't get on cruises. I rather drive myself. Any statistical category will tell you driving is the most dangerous thing you're going to do today, bar none.
Right.
Like car accidents are like the number 3 or 4 death reason people die our age bracket.
Nobody.
You're right. I'm more nervous about leaving our neighborhood. And Nate, you see our neighborhood. Like I'd be nervous when I whip around the corner because I'm like, either I'm going to hit a body or a car is going to swerve, or I'm not going to see them.
Always over that double line, bro.
They're over the double line coming through the main street. Or, I got the blind turn coming out because there's always a vehicle blocking my spot so I can't see. And I'm like, bro, where's this line? I'm gonna whip out there.
And that's the thing about driving. The day that the Mack truck blindsides you, there's nothing you can do about it. No matter how good you're driving, it's the other folks on the road. And you can't control that. You have no control at all over that. But people, for some reason, feel safer doing it that way.
Yeah, I've turned into the most, I would say, cautious driver since living here in the DMV, and it's not like overly cautious because I know you also have to be kind of aggressive out here. People either somebody will hit you, or you will just be sitting there waiting to make a left turn for an hour trying to get out of somewhere. But I don't understand that myself. When people say I don't fly, I don't want to get on a cruise. I mean, like, well, I guess you just don't want to at least try to live a little bit or experience something. Like hey, if it's my time, it's my time, man. The insurance is good, the will is good, the plots are ready. So, y'all, everything's gonna be fine. At the end of the day, my kid's gonna get paid. That's how I look at it. So,
yes, sir.
And I was like, thank God, I lived a good life. We'll figure out the rest. But it's always interesting. Also, shameless plug while I'm here. So you guys see the shirt, Sick Fit. This is I'm a clothing ambassador for them, but this is
that.
Yes, I know, and I have to do it beforehand because my homegirl Peyton, like when you chop this clip, I'm gonna post this one because she's gonna be like, thank you. But no, Sick Fit, it's a veteran-owned, minority-owned, woman-owned sock brand. You never think socks, but this is one of the original T-shirts. The socks, I'm gonna show you. So the socks right here. It's a dope sock, man. Tons of styles, man. Some of the best stuff. Military grade socks, you name it, she makes them. Like on par with like the top military socks. Darn tough. Those $30, $40 pairs of one pair of socks. Yeah, Stick Fit's got them, and for a cheaper price. So, yeah, check out Stick Fit. www.stickfit.com. Yeah. So
yeah, that's a whole nother angle we could talk about next time. How becoming a
yeah.
brand ambassador, using your influence that you've accumulated online to pivot and help other brands and get free merch. I found out about Sick Fit. I don't even know if you were an official ambassador. This was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. But you had posted about it. I looked it up. I got some socks in there. So yeah, Sick Fit, I could definitely vouch for you. That's
I appreciate it. I've actually
on Black Friday years ago, and she's so super dope that she engaged with us. Like after I posted it, she commented on it, got in the DMs. We were talking for a little bit. So yeah, matter of fact, she about to be on the podcast. We got to get her on here to talk about that.
yeah, we
Brand.
can connect with her. Peyton is dope. Peyton is dope. I remember when I met her, I know we're closing out, but when I met her, I gotta plug her. When I met Peyton at Sick Fit, man, it was dope. I remember when Sick Fit was just a dream. It was just a fruition, a thought. I met her back in El Paso, Texas. She was there for training. You know, she was in the military. She just recently got out. But Sick Fit back then was just like there's this idea for socks, and I was like essentially I was her first ambassador, like the first person that kind of like was there for the crystallization of the dream that she had, and just I've just been rocking with her. I don't even consider myself like ambassador because some of the other ambassadors do way better than me. They're much better at marketing. They're much better at social media. They're much better at sales. I think I'm just like someone that's on a team that's always going to support her, always going to be there for her, always going to uplift the brand in any way I can, whether it's through word of mouth, posting, whatever. And I just believe in what she's doing, and it has blown up exponentially. So shout out to Sick Fit once again. I will plug them on anything I talk about publicly because she's always looked out for me in anything I need. Like, and we're friends, obviously outside of the brand, like military wise, and she knows my wife and my family. So it's much deeper connection than just that. But yeah, shouts out to Peyton, man, for sure.
We gonna have a part 2 to this for sure.
Okay.
This was a really dope conversation on some real stuff. Yeah, man, you're a good dude. From the time that I was able to meet you just randomly in the neighborhood, our daughters
Yeah.
connecting.
You're the only other black guy I saw at the time that actually had on some that had on some Jordans, and I was like, "Oh, okay, he a real one. Let me check."
Connected off
He has some dope kicks on.
You gotta get the one black guy, the real head and all. Like,
I knew. I saw him walking by, and I was just like, first I looked and I saw the shoe game. I was like, all right, he real. He got I don't know. I ain't gonna say he had on like a sweatsuit or something. I don't want to say it was like Sean John. I don't think it was that bad, but like, I was like, oh, he a real one.
There we go.
This was during the pandemic, y'all. It was not Sean John. Yo. Just so y'all know. Yeah. But yeah, man, respect you. You're good peoples. You're clearly family now because you done blessed the podcast. What you call them, Ben's? Adjacent cousins or something like that. I forget what it is. We got.
I'm extraordinary adjacent. I'll take it.
There you go.
Extraordinary adjacent. That's what it was.
Yeah, extraordinary adjacent. I'm with it.
But yeah, now thank you. Tell the people where they can find you, social media, how they can tap in with you, maybe be a client, just see all the dope stuff that you're doing out here in the world, man.
All right, so check me out on primarily I'm on IG at Captain America, Captain with a K, KAPTAIN _ America with a K. Also, you can hit me on I am on TikTok. I'm working on that too. So TikTok Captain 6 God on TikTok, and check out my new YouTube channel. I'm working on a lot with it. That it's called Kicking It with Cap. All right, so just check it out. You guys are gonna see a lot of dope stuff. I got about 8 or 9 videos I got to shoot over the next 6-7 weeks. So a lot of things I'm gonna drop. You guys are gonna see reels, everything across all social media platforms, reels, information, everything. I'm gonna put things out there and see what sticks, see what hits the algorithm just right, and then we're gonna rock with it. So this is all experimental phase. So please check me out on all socials. And then yes, if you're interested in coaching, just hit me up on Instagram. My links are all in my Instagram profile, they're in my TikTok profile, and they're also on my YouTube profile. So hit them all, and just if you need some help or whatever, and if you don't want to hit the link and you're just nervous, just shoot me a DM and I'll make sure to respond appropriately.
Cool, man. Hey, thank you for coming. We appreciate the knowledge. As Bennett said, we can keep talking for another hour, so we might have to come back and do this again. But we thank you for your time, man.
Hey, Benz, Nate, I really appreciate y'all. Like, really, really appreciate the opportunity to just sit down and chop it up and have some good conversations with like-minded men, and just continue to, grow the mindset of our communities and the people around us, man. So thank you again for having me. Always willing to come back, always willing to join in with somebody else, have some good, fruitful discussions, so many topics we can talk about. So please, whenever you need me, let me know.
Education and smart financial strategies. And y'all got educated tonight. Y'all got some dope strategies. And again, Collin, we're going to do this again, brother. Appreciate you for gracing us with your presence. And yeah, man, until the next episode, y'all be good, be blessed, be extraordinary. We'll holler at y'all.
Y'all be great. Take care.